For 3 unparalleled decades, from 1962 to 1992, Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show wasn't just a television program, it was the ultimate cultural touchstone, a nightly gathering for millions across America. As the undisputed king of late night, Carson commanded a stage where laughter, insight, and impromptu brilliance converged. His iconic desk and sofa became a symbol of primetime access, a place where aspiring stars could launch careers and global icons could reveal their human side. The show's magic lay in its meticulously crafted spontaneity, its ability to feel both grand and intimately personal. Before we get started, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support is greatly appreciated. Carson's calm composure, sharp wit, and innate ability to navigate any conversation, no matter how eccentric or challenging the guest, were legendary. He was the maestro, effortlessly conducting a nightly symphony of entertainment. The show's appeal was universal, drawing in everyone from Hollywood's elite to unique personalities from all walks of life. This vast array of guests, each bringing their own energy and story, contributed to The Tonight Show's dynamic and often unpredictable charm. The appearance on Carson's show was a stamp of approval, a sign that you had truly arrived in the cultural consciousness. However, the immense power of this national spotlight could, on rare occasions, illuminate aspects of a guest's life far beyond their public persona, leading to unforeseen and dramatic consequences long after the cameras stopped rolling. Appearing on The Tonight Show was for many the pinnacle of public recognition. It was a golden ticket to overnight fame, a chance to connect with millions of viewers who trusted Carson as their nightly guide. For guests, it offered an unparalleled platform to promote their work, share their stories, or simply bask in the glow of national attention. The show's reach was immense, its influence undeniable in shaping public perception and elevating individuals to household name status. However, the very intensity of this spotlight could also prove to be a double-edged sword. Every word, every gesture, every nuance was amplified, scrutinized, and recorded for posterity. While this typically worked in favor of Carson and his guests, reinforcing their charm, wit, or talent, there were rare, chilling instances where the relentless glare of national television inadvertently cast a light on something far more unsettling. The stage that offered such immense opportunity also brought immense, inescapable exposure. For some, the fleeting moment under the bright lights of Burbank could, years later, become a haunting reminder, a timestamp in a life that would take a dramatic and tragic turn, forcing the public to reevaluate every smile and every anecdote shared on that iconic couch. Among the myriad of famous faces who graced Johnny Carson's Tonight Show set, few were as universally beloved and seemingly wholesome as O.J. Simpson. Before the tumultuous events of the 1990s, Simpson was a bona fide American hero, a Heisman Trophy-winning football star, a record-breaking NFL running back, and a charismatic, effortlessly charming crossover celebrity who parlayed his athletic fame into a successful career in broadcasting and acting. He was the Juice, a smiling, approachable icon whose life seemed to embody the American dream. O.J. Simpson's journey from the sports field to mainstream entertainment was a unique testament to his charisma. After an electrifying college career at USC, he dominated the NFL, breaking rushing records and captivating audiences with his dynamic style of play. But unlike many athletes whose fame fades with their playing days, Simpson transitioned seamlessly into a thriving second act. He became a familiar face in commercials, notably for Hertz rental cars, where he famously ran through airports, embodying speed and freedom. He ventured into acting, appearing in popular films like the Naked Gun series, showcasing a surprising comedic timing. His appearances on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, were frequent and always welcomed. Carson clearly enjoyed Simpson's easygoing nature, his ready laugh, and his ability to tell engaging anecdotes about his athletic past and his burgeoning Hollywood career, O.J. fit perfectly into the show's convivial atmosphere. He was handsome, articulate, and carried an aura of effortless success that resonated with the American public. These appearances helped solidify his image as a universally admired public figure, a man seemingly without enemies, whose charm and talent were boundless. He was seen as a symbol of aspiration and achievement, a role model for many, and a consistent source of entertaining conversation on the nation's most cherished late-night program, while O.J. Simpson appeared on The Tonight Show. Multiple times throughout Carson's tenure, each segment contributed to his carefully constructed public image. The interviews were typically lighthearted, focusing on his athletic triumphs, his latest acting roles, or amusing personal anecdotes. Carson, with his keen interviewer's eye, would guide the conversation, allowing O.J.'s charm to shine through. The laughter was genuine, the applause enthusiastic, and the segments always seemed to reinforce the perception of Simpson as a well-adjusted, incredibly successful, and thoroughly likable individual. There were no public red flags, no moments of bizarre behavior, no hints of the darkness that would later consume his life. If anything, his appearances on Carson's show reinforced his golden boy status. He often spoke about his family, his aspirations, and his love for life, all delivered with that infectious, confident smile. For those watching at home, O.J. Simpson on The Tonight Show was a comforting presence, a reminder of pure American success stories. At the time, no one, not Johnny Carson, not the producers, and certainly not the millions of adoring fans, could have possibly foreseen the chilling path his life would take years after those jovial interviews. The man who sat on Carson's couch, the epitome of charm and athleticism, carried a hidden future that would irrevocably shatter his public image and shock the world to its core. The stage of The Tonight Show inadvertently preserved a snapshot of a celebrated life, unknowingly predating a catastrophic fall from grace. Years after his final appearance on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, the meticulously crafted public image of O.J. Simpson, the American hero, would tragically and violently unravel. The events of June 1994, with the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman, sent shockwaves across the nation, transforming a beloved icon into the central figure of one of the most sensational and divisive criminal trials in history. This wasn't an immediate post-show arrest, but a delayed, brutal consequence that forced the public to re-examine every public appearance, including those on Carson's revered program. On June 13, 1994, news broke of the brutal murders of Nicole Brown Simpson, O.J.'s ex-wife, and her friend Ronald Goldman. The initial shock quickly turned to widespread disbelief as O.J. Simpson, the seemingly unimpeachable athlete and actor, became the prime suspect. The subsequent events, the infamous white Ford Bronco chase across Los Angeles freeways, watched live by millions, interrupting the NBA Finals, were unprecedented and surreal. This dramatic flight from justice was a stark, horrifying contrast to the jovial, confident man who had charmed audiences on Carson's sofa for years. The sheer dissonance between the public persona and the accused murderer was almost impossible for many to reconcile. The images of O.J. Simpson, once synonymous with running through airports for Hertz commercials, now fleeing in a slow-speed chase, became indelible. It forced a national reckoning with the idea that the charming celebrity facade could conceal a far darker reality. For those who had watched him on Carson's show, full of laughter and seemingly genuine warmth, the transition from adored hero to murder suspect was deeply unsettling. Every past interview, every joke, every confident smile was retrospectively viewed through a new, chilling lens. The very stage where he had been celebrated became, in memory, a platform where a tragic deception had unknowingly played out. The ensuing criminal trial, famously dubbed the Trial of the Century, became a global spectacle, eclipsing all other news for months. It exposed deeply unsettling aspects of O.J. Simpson's personal life, including allegations of domestic violence that had been largely hidden from his carefully managed public image. The stark contrast between the smiling, genial guest on The Tonight Show and the man at the center of a double murder trial was jarring and profoundly disturbing to the public psyche. For Johnny Carson, who had retired 2 years prior to the murders, the O.J. Simpson saga must have been a deeply unsettling experience. While he rarely commented publicly on post-show guest controversies, the Simpson case represented the ultimate betrayal of public trust by a figure he had personally welcomed into millions of homes. The objective documentary perspective here is chilling. Carson's show had, in its own way, helped craft and maintain the very image that was now shattering so violently. The clean, wholesome, successful persona that O.J. projected on The Tonight Show was completely at odds with the graphic details emerging from the trial. It was a stark reminder of the limitations of the television screen to reveal true character and the immense power of celebrity to mask darker realities. The case profoundly impacted O.J. Simpson's legacy, obliterating his previous image as a sports legend and beloved entertainer. His appearances on The Tonight Show, once highlights of his career, became retrospective points of morbid fascination. Viewers would revisit old clips, searching for any subtle cues, any hidden signs of the turmoil that lay beneath the surface, even though none were evident at the time. The show itself, while not directly implicated, became a part of the historical record, showcasing the before picture of a life that took a cataclysmic turn. O.J. Simpson's acquittal in the criminal trial, followed by a civil court judgment finding him liable for the deaths, left a deeply divided public and an enduring sense of unease. His story became a complex parable about race, justice, and the power of celebrity in America. His journey from the bright lights of The Tonight Show to the defendant's table, and ultimately to a later conviction for unrelated charges of armed robbery and kidnapping in 2008, serves as one of the most dramatic and tragic examples of a public figure's fall from grace. For fans of Johnny Carson and The Tonight Show, the O.J. Simpson saga remains a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of life, even for those who seemingly have it all. It underscores the profound responsibility that comes with the public platform of television, and how the images captured in those moments, even years later, can be recontextualized by unforeseen events. The man who brought laughter and easy charm to Carson's couch ultimately became a symbol of a nation's collective shock and disillusionment, a chilling testament to the hidden complexities that can reside within even the most celebrated public figures. His story is a powerful, if sobering, footnote in the otherwise glittering history of The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Among the myriad of luminaries who frequently graced Johnny Carson's revered Tonight Show set, few commanded such widespread admiration and projected an aura of seemingly untarnished wholesomeness as O.J. Simpson. Long before the catastrophic legal battles that would define the latter half of his life, Simpson stood as a quintessential American hero, a mesmerizing Heisman Trophy-winning collegiate football star, a record-breaking NFL running back who defied defensive lines with effortless grace, and a charismatic, effortlessly charming crossover celebrity who seamlessly parlayed his athletic renown into a thriving career in broadcasting and acting. He was widely known simply as the Juice, a universally recognized, smiling, and approachable icon whose life appeared to embody the very essence of the American dream. His narrative was one of talent, hard work, and boundless success, seemingly devoid of the complexities and darker undertones that often shadowed public figures. O.J. Simpson's journey from the thundering sports field to the gleaming lights of mainstream entertainment was a truly unique testament to his extraordinary charisma and undeniable marketability. After an electrifying college football career at the University of Southern California, where he captured the coveted Heisman Trophy, he went on to dominate the National Football League. Playing primarily for the Buffalo Bills, he rewrote record books, becoming the first NFL player to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season. His dynamic style of play, marked by speed, agility, and a captivating elusiveness, routinely captivated audiences and established him as one of the sport's all-time greats. However, unlike many athletic stars whose fame often fades with their playing days, Simpson executed a remarkably seamless and highly successful transition into a thriving second act in show business. He became an omnipresent and instantly recognizable face in national television commercials, most notably for Hertz rental cars, where he famously sprinted through bustling airports, embodying themes of speed, freedom, and effortless efficiency. These commercials were ubiquitous, transforming him from a sports hero into a beloved advertising icon. Building on this commercial success, he ventured into acting, showcasing a surprising natural talent and comedic timing in popular films like the Naked Gun series. His ability to charm on screen, coupled with his athletic pedigree, made him a unique and valuable commodity in Hollywood. He embodied a new kind of celebrity, one who could effortlessly bridge the worlds of sports, advertising, and entertainment, appealing to an incredibly broad demographic across America. O.J. Simpson's numerous appearances on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, were not just routine bookings. They were integral to the meticulous cultivation and maintenance of his golden boy public image. These were highly anticipated segments, and Carson, known for his ability to connect with diverse personalities, clearly enjoyed Simpson's easygoing nature, his ready, booming laugh, and his effortless ability to recount engaging anecdotes about his athletic past, his burgeoning Hollywood career, and his personal life. Simpson fit perfectly into the show's convivial and seemingly spontaneous atmosphere. He was handsome, articulate, incredibly confident without being arrogant, and carried an aura of effortless success that resonated deeply with the American public's aspirations. These appearances helped solidify his status as a universally admired public figure, a man seemingly without enemies or significant personal flaws, whose charm, talent, and winning smile appeared boundless. He was consistently portrayed and genuinely perceived as a symbol of aspiration and achievement, a role model for countless individuals, and a reliable source of entertaining and uplifting conversation on the nation's most cherished late-night program. Each segment with Carson reinforced the narrative of a man who had it all and who genuinely appreciated it. During these interviews, the focus was invariably on his triumphs. Conversations would gracefully glide over his latest touchdown record, the humorous mishaps on a film set, or perhaps a light-hearted story about his family life. Carson, with his keen interviewer's eye, would deftly guide the conversation, allowing O.J.'s inherent charm and affability to shine through without delving into any potentially uncomfortable or controversial topics. The laughter from the studio audience was always genuine, the applause enthusiastic, and the segments consistently reinforced the perception of Simpson as a well-adjusted, incredibly successful, and thoroughly likable individual, living out a dream. He was a safe, dependable, and always engaging guest who perfectly understood the unwritten rules of late-night talk shows. At the time of these broadcasts, no one, not Johnny Carson, nor the show's seasoned producers, and certainly not the millions of adoring fans across the nation, could have possibly foreseen the chilling, catastrophic path his life would take years after those jovial and seemingly innocuous interviews. The man who sat so confidently and charismatically on Carson's couch, the very epitome of charm, athleticism, and the American ideal, carried a deeply hidden future that would irrevocably shatter his carefully constructed public image and shock the world to its very core. The stage of The Tonight Show, in these moments, inadvertently preserved a snapshot of a celebrated life at its zenith, unknowingly predating a catastrophic and indelible fall from grace that would forever redefine public perception of O.J. Simpson. These recorded interactions would later be replayed countless times, scrutinized with a chilling new understanding, searching for any unnoticed cracks in the facade. Years after his final charismatic appearances on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, the meticulously crafted public image of O.J. Simpson, the universally adored American hero, would catastrophically and violently unravel. The horrific events of June 1994, with the brutal murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman, sent seismic shockwaves across the entire nation, transforming a beloved icon into the central figure of one of the most sensational, divisive, and ultimately tragic criminal trials in history. This was not an immediate post-show arrest, but a devastatingly delayed, brutal consequence that forced the public to fundamentally re-examine every past public appearance, every confident smile, and every anecdote shared on Carson's revered program. The morning of June 13, 1994, brought news that seemed utterly incomprehensible. Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman had been found brutally murdered outside her Los Angeles home. The initial shock quickly morphed into widespread disbelief, then into profound national horror, as O.J. Simpson, the seemingly unimpeachable athlete, actor, and national spokesperson, rapidly emerged as the prime suspect. The subsequent events, culminating in the infamous white Ford Bronco chase across the sprawling Los Angeles freeways, watched live by millions, interrupting the NBA Finals, were unprecedented, surreal, and deeply disturbing. This dramatic, slow-speed flight from law enforcement was a stark, horrifying, and utterly inexplicable contrast to the jovial, confident, and seemingly law-abiding man who had charmed audiences on Carson's sofa for years. The sheer dissonance between his established public persona and the accused murderer on the run was almost impossible for many Americans to reconcile. The images of O.J. Simpson, once synonymous with his graceful sprint through airports for Hertz commercials, now frantically fleeing in a white Bronco, became indelible and haunting. They forced a national reckoning with the unsettling idea that the charming celebrity facade, meticulously built over decades, could conceal a far darker, more violent reality. For those who had watched him on Carson's show, full of laughter and seemingly genuine warmth, the sudden jarring transition from adored hero to murder suspect was deeply unsettling and traumatic. Every past interview, every light-hearted joke, every confident smile was retrospectively viewed through a new, chilling lens. The very stage of The Tonight Show, where he had been consistently celebrated and elevated, became, in the collective memory, a platform where a tragic and profound deception had unknowingly played out. It was a stark lesson in the often illusory nature of celebrity. The ensuing criminal trial, famously and rightfully dubbed the trial of the century, became a global spectacle, dominating headlines and live television broadcasts for months on end. It exposed deeply unsettling aspects of O.J. Simpson's personal life, including long-standing allegations of domestic violence and turbulent relationships, details that had been meticulously hidden From his carefully managed public image, the stark contrast between the smiling, genial, and seemingly perfect guest on The Tonight Show and the man at the center of a double murder trial was not merely jarring, it was profoundly disturbing to the public psyche, shaking the very foundations of trust in public figures. For Johnny Carson, who had gracefully retired from The Tonight Show, just 2 years prior to the murders, the O.J. Simpson saga must have been a profoundly unsettling experience. While Carson, a fiercely private individual, rarely commented publicly on post-show guest controversies, the Simpson case represented the ultimate, most shocking betrayal of public trust by a figure he had personally welcomed into millions of American homes, helping to foster an image of reliability, charm, and trustworthiness. From an objective documentary perspective, the implications are chilling. Carson's show had, in its own inimitable way, inadvertently helped craft and painstakingly maintain the very wholesome public image that was now shattering so violently and spectacularly. The clean, wholesome, successful, and ostensibly perfect persona that O.J. so masterfully projected on The Tonight Show was now completely at odds with the graphic details of violence, the disturbing testimonies, and the profoundly dark narratives emerging from the trial. It served as a stark, unforgettable reminder of the inherent limitations of the television screen to truly reveal an individual's authentic character and the immense, almost dangerous power of celebrity to mask far darker, more sinister realities that lie beneath the polished surface. The case profoundly and irrevocably impacted O.J. Simpson's legacy, utterly obliterating his previous identity as an unblemished sports legend and beloved entertainer. His appearances on The Tonight Show, once gleaming highlights of his celebrated career, were retrospectively transformed into points of morbid fascination and intense re-examination. Viewers would revisit old clips, searching with a chilling retrospective curiosity for any subtle cues, any hidden signs of the deep turmoil that must have lain beneath the surface, even though, in real time, none were explicitly evident. The show itself, while not directly implicated in the heinous crimes, became an unwitting yet indelible part of the historical record, preserving a poignant before picture of a life that took a cataclysmic and infamous turn, forever changing how audiences viewed the glamour of celebrity. O.J. Simpson's acquittal in the criminal trial, famously or infamously, followed by a civil court judgment finding him liable for the deaths, left a deeply divided public and an enduring sense of unease that persists to this very day. His complex and tragic story became a compelling yet profoundly disturbing modern parable about race, justice, the pervasive influence of media, and the often perverted power of celebrity in America. His extraordinary journey from the bright, adoring lights of The Tonight Show and the football field to the defendant's table, and ultimately to a later conviction for unrelated charges of armed robbery and kidnapping in 2008 stands as one of the most dramatic, shocking, and tragic examples of a public figure's spectacular and irrevocable fall from grace in modern history. For fans of Johnny Carson and The Tonight Show, the O.J. Simpson saga remains a stark, unsettling reminder of the unpredictable and often cruel nature of life, even for those who seemingly possess every imaginable advantage and blessing. It underscores the profound responsibility that inherently comes with the immense public platform of television, and how the carefully constructed images captured in those fleeting on-screen moments, even years later, can be irrevocably recontextualized and distorted by unforeseen, catastrophic events. The charming, witty man who frequently brought laughter and an easy, affable presence to Carson's couch ultimately transformed into a national symbol of collective shock, profound disillusionment, and an enduring sense of legal ambiguity. His story is a powerful, if sobering, footnote in the otherwise glittering and largely untarnished history of The Tonight Show. Starring Johnny Carson, the indelible memory of O.J. Simpson's appearances on The Tonight Show serves as a poignant, unsettling testament to the hidden complexities, the potential for darkness, and the profound disconnect that can reside within even the most celebrated and outwardly perfect public figures. It is a stark reminder that even under the brightest lights, some truths remain concealed, only to be revealed by time and tragedy, leaving an indelible mark on both the individuals involved and the public consciousness that once adored them. The segments with Carson remain frozen in time, capturing a golden era of a man before the gold turned to dust. Thank you so much to everyone who watched to the end. Your likes and subscriptions are incredibly valuable. And be sure to hit the bell so you never miss new videos and stay updated.